That is some bougie water, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Tenfold AI podcast. I'm Heather. That's Matt. That's his water. It's very fancy. You can tell because it has produce inside of it. Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Nobody knows that this produce has been in this mason jar for 48 hours, though. This is not.
Well, what kind of science experiment is that?
It's my microbiome just getting healthier and healthier.
Taking in those probiotics from your fermenting fruits and veggies.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I've got to like join the founder cult of biohacking and over optimization. Just
right. That is a whole thing. But what's that guy who has like, he's like harvesting blood and stuff from his son? It's all above board. Like, we're not talking about shady stuff here, but he is uber wealthy and on this quest. I can't remember his name. On this quest, for eternal youth, and is doing, what's it called, where they spin your blood and put it back in, and just all the fancy stuff for biohacking. And one of the things is he takes like his son's on board with it, his young adult son. They gather his blood or platelets or something and put it in the dad, so that it's very evil, rich villain coded.
dude.
Yeah, maybe that'll be you one day.
No way. Gosh, I mean, some of these people need to legitimately just like go do MMA or something. Like if you get rich enough to where it is really like the problems begin to diminish so much that the end state is just turning yourself into an experiment just to find a problem to solve. Like, just go do a tough backpacking trip and like learn to
You're
fight.
more the Joe Rogan style. But I don't know if I'm sure there's psychologists who've studied the, like the core why, the real why, the deep why of these tech oligarchs, Elon Musk wanting to go to Mars and shoot rockets into space, and Jeff Bezos, doing all of his crazy stuff. It's kind of like under the hood of all of it is this, fear of death. And
Yeah.
search for immortality. Like Walt Disney, didn't he freeze himself, like cryo? He's in a freezer in Orlando somewhere, just waiting to be thawed out and reinvigorated.
It's like the Dunning-Kruger effect of the Dunning-Kruger effect of this, I feel like, is the hill is the initial motivation for the entire pursuit is just to get laid. And then you reach a point to where you've like reached a level of wealth and success. You are now like getting laid at will. And and so then the next hill to climb, I guess, is immortality.
Well, right, because then you realize I'm not going to be able to get laid forever.
Yeah.
And also, why? I have enough money to live forever, don't I? But, out of that has been birthed many amazing inventions for humanity.
Yeah. So I'm saying but I think a big part of that, I'm not joking when I say would be wise for these folks to start doing some kind of, probably like, you don't want to get head trauma, so you should probably do some sort of grappling arts, and then get choked, like play with the very edge of mortality, like come up to like knock on the door of milliseconds between you and your mortality. And I think that like energy sort of dies off a little bit.
Well, there's a lot of rich dudes who are into like autoerotic asphyxiation.
Exactly. See,
That's a thing.
I think we're onto something.
Oh my gosh, where did that rabbit trail go? You had some fun things that you found. New Chinese AI model that popped on the scene and says, copyright laws? What's that?
Yes, I'm here for it. I'm like very interested to see where this goes. All right, so it's Cdance 2.0. It's from the
Mm-hmm.
company ByteDance. You can think of ByteDance as like it's like Meta. It's like China's Meta or their Google. I mean, they're just like a super conglomerate tech company. But here we go. So we're just looking at all of these things, and it's not going to be released to the US until the 26th. I think it's going to cause an absolute. So here we go. We've got Lord of the Rings. I mean, this is a Waffle House.
If this is your first shift at Waffle House, you have to fight.
My gosh.
That's crazy.
This looks like a movie we would totally watch.
So when we were talking about the copyright issues, this is obviously, I mean, they are training on copyrighted material. And,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all know China don't give a shit about it.
Mm-mm.
So here we go. We've got Walter White from Breaking Bad. We've got Stranger Things.
I just want to mention we are showing this for commentary only.
Yeah, we're just showing an X feed. This is public domain. I think
Right.
we're safe. Yeah, what are you gonna come sue me for my guitars? This is one of my favorites. This little Chinese girl playing one-on-one with LeBron, just
Oh, that's
balling out.
amazing. It's just dunking on him.
So there's two things to talk about here.
Uh-huh.
First off, it's just like really, I mean, this is a great one. We know that this is like the Will Smith eating spaghetti is the litmus test. But peep this.
That's the good stuff. And that's a wrap.
With the audio.
That's the good stuff. And that's a wrap.
There's a few things that I want to point out here. So there's two things that we can talk about, and it's like the technology of it. And one of the just absolute breakthroughs with this release is the physics of it. So I want you to kind of watch the spaghetti separate, supernatural separation. You know what I mean? And it kind of falls in the way that it normally would fall. And you see that like where his mouth is in relation to the action is it's undeniable. I mean, I don't mean to like just watch it, but like,
Feels dirty.
it's like this is something that has been really hard for these diffusion models to get right is just good physics that to where like something like spaghetti, something like spaghetti, we've all eaten spaghetti. We've all like cooked it. We've all put it into a bowl. And we know approximately like the rate at which it flops over itself and it separates from itself. And it behaves differently in real life when there's sauce on it versus when there's not, or it's clumpy. The way that these images have been created by AI, it does make it hard to place things properly in physics so that we don't feel confused by it. And so this is a major breakthrough. Like, I'm not entirely certain. I'm not like, I just found out about this on Wednesday. So I've not looked into how the model is built and why it's able to do that. But I would just assume somehow better training for the things that like,
Yeah.
first off, probably stealing a lot of IP is a big part of it. And then something about the physics layer is just absolutely incredible here.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting once you can get your hands on it and just see like how long does it take to arrive at an output like we just saw.
Yeah.
The highly dynamic, physical, lots of physics, components in a shot. Is that something that the team within that company built over the course of months or, with thousands of prompts and iterations or, I think that's kind of the litmus test, don't you
It
think?
is. I agree. And I will say, I mean, I'm kind of nervous that I just put this file on my computer. So just playing around, I've
You
run
have a
into
VPN.
Yeah, exactly. Our CTO, front end dev, was able to work a
'Cause
little magic that,
he's not in the US.
but check this out. This is just like one shot, one prompt output here.
First, we shouted. Then, we printed. Then, we broadcast. Perfect multi-channel campaign.
Cute. Love it. What was his feedback on using it?
This is his area of expertise.
Mhm.
I mean, he's like very deep into to the different video models. And he talked about it as like, this is game changing.
Dang.
Yeah. And it's funny though, video, I'm noticing when we have meetings and stuff, talking to him, video generation right now is about where large language models were in, let's say, 2024. I think a lot of people remember when there was sort of that LLM race when, OpenAI came out with O1, and then Gemini came out with 1.5, and then OpenAI came out with O3. Then R1 was released once the reasoning models started hitting the scenes. So video generation is in that era now. We've not seen a huge leap in the large language model capabilities. We're kind of now entering into the phase where, each model release is 10%, 20% better than the last. So where a lot of the work is being done on the large language model side now is like what Promo does. It's the engineering of the tokens that come out of those LLMs. How do you build that context system? And
Mhm.
there's not much on the foundational model level. However, when it comes to video, now the foundational models are getting good enough to where probably a year from now, there will be the app layer that starts allowing you to combine the different models that are good at different things. And I think we're going to see videos just really hit the scenes a year from now, like in a really
Yeah.
great way. Really cool.
Interesting. And at the same time, I think you found that Meta is allowing users to control their algorithms more.
Hmm.
And with an influx of AI videos, I'm sure there will be a lot of users. I will want more control over my algorithm
Hmm.
with more.
This is really fun for me personally. Like, yeah, so it's a Dear algorithm feature. How it works is you can basically talk to the algorithm. Remember, I was talking about this like 2 years ago. You're going to be able to talk with your algorithm.
Yes, curate your experience.
100%. So it's really interesting. It'll update your algorithm for 3 days. So you start chatting with Dear Algo, and it'll update your meta algorithm over the course of 3 days. I mean, this concept was something I first came across in like probably 2019 or 2020 as like, this is a theoretical possibility of large language models where an LLM will be able to translate what you want into, and numbers into a math equation that populates your feeds with the things that you want to see. So I just find that very, very fascinating.
End of the black box feed. It's so interesting how that term is popping up in different ways.
Hmm. This is just very exciting. It's cool to see Meta doing something. I mean, Meta's still got it. I mean, like Zuckerberg, love him or hate him, he's kind of a dork, but like he's going for it. I mean, like he's still going for it constantly. And this to me is like a shot across the bow because it is really the algorithm it is like the proprietary moat of all these social platforms. It's what makes TikTok is their algorithm.
Yes.
And it's the thing that's most valuable. The algorithm is how these companies make money. You know, it's how they went from, you know, we just allow you to connect with your friends to we print cash. Orders $1 billion of just straight up cash because of this algorithm. And Zuck is saying, here it is, you can manipulate it. We'll see if we can like, you know, he's betting that he can still sell ads and probably sell ads for more on a curated algorithm than just an out of the box forced algorithm that people have to operate in. So I find that really
Yeah.
it's a big swing for a publicly traded company of that size and a company that's been around for over 20 years to see them still doing it. It's like, I think Meta remains like a legacy American corporation because of
Mm-hmm.
this type of leadership. Whether it works or not, who knows? But, you know,
Yeah.
Zuck definitely not sitting back counting money,
Mm-hmm.
probably
Yeah. In
losing a lot.
one of our first conversations when I met you, you were, unpacking what an LLM is, what the AI potential is, and you were describing like these completely curated experiences digitally, and it made so much sense to me. But I think, the dilemma, the interesting thing is you've got this tech with the ability to create, Matt's user experience where you can turn on your TV and you're getting recommendations from every platform, right? For like where the movie is or, the show is hosted doesn't matter. You're just being fed like your preferred algorithm. Like you don't have to click into Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or whatever. You're just queued up the shows that you like because your algorithm is kind of the source of truth in that system. And the same with our mobile and desktop experiences as well. It's like truly you could have, your social feed could be part of your desktop or mobile user experience, and it doesn't even matter what platform it's on. Like it really need not be a siloed
Yes.
application. But the only reason it is because you just said it. That's their IP, like their owned algorithm, their logins, their user base. That's their moat.
Mhm.
And so it's better for the user if they break up all of these tech oligarchs and it's just data soup served to me as I want. But that business level, like the business conversation of like, those companies are not going to forfeit their position and the cash that they're printing to make that user experience possible. So I don't know. Like, do you think they will just like contract with one another to create something like a unified user experience? Or I don't know.
It's a really good question. So like, yeah, I mean, God, we talked about this years ago. And it had to have sounded just like a total weird stoner concept.
Not to me, man.
I was
That's where I
talking to you about,
live.
but like, yeah, it's okay. So like curating your algorithm is one thing, but just if you think about your experience on social media from first principles, it's like you have this hardware, that's your interface for it. It's your phone. You use your phone to take an image, and then so that image is on your phone. Now you have to take that image or video. You've got to put it onto a platform. You have to attach your whatever. So that's how you share to it. And then how you receive things from these various platforms is by opening apps. And so first off, we know that apps can be built in a matter of minutes now. So agents can build apps. So the idea of having an app in an app store is no longer a big differentiator. And so if you could imagine a world where your phone is just powered by an agent, and then whatever you need to do, that app is spun up in real time for that purpose. You can either keep that app or you delete it when you're done with it, whatever the case may be. But the agent just has access to everything. And of course, if you were to build this system, you need to put like strong guardrails on the system. So I could definitely see a world where like LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, now these are just APIs. And so you're basically pulling content from all of these places directly onto your like own personal feed that exists like at the hardware layer on your phone. You're able to select your contacts, what goes in and what goes out of it. And you probably just have like a close family and friend, like you probably have a family feed, a close friends feed, a like so that close friends is probably 150 people in that feed. And then you probably have a like broader social network, broader work network. And then you have like the world at large. You know what I mean? It would only make sense that we would want to parse all of our activities by these types of people. And then, so that as you're taking pictures on your phone, it would just be obvious that like all of your puppy pictures are like for close family and friends, and so you just like,
Mm.
and your phone would probably just organize all of those images. Like you'd just be like, okay, here's your accidental screenshots that you took while putting your phone in your pocket. Here's all of your puppy pictures. We're going to go ahead and have these stored over here till you give us permission to send these to like stream all of these puppy pictures through your close friends and family feeds, stuff like that. I mean,
Mhm.
that user experience is just a million times better and absolutely possible today.
Yeah. It would be
It's a
so
matter of
cool.
time.
Yeah, I would wanna set mine up basically based on my mood, like fun or funny, personal, like you said, the close friends, educational, like by topic, and you could just set it up however you want. What are you feeling at the moment? And you click fun, and now you've got your entertainment feed curated to what matters to you. Of
Yeah.
course, there's a lot of downsides to all of this. There's confirmation bias. There's, myopic existence that could happen, but it kind of already is because of the algorithms. Let's be honest.
And there's no opportunity, I mean, that to me is probably the most fascinating, like sociological question here is that now people have control. Let's say hypothetically, we know with Meta, you can have, 72 hours of control at any given time over your algorithm. Who does that? Who actually knows what they want to see, with high levels of specificity,
Mhm.
or is our relationship to that type of stuff currently one that is just so passive that we wouldn't even know how to, what to do with that? It'll be a
Yeah,
shift. It'd be like your kids' generation, I think, will be the ones that navigate that shift because they have an awareness of what's going on
I think
intuitively.
so too. Yeah. And we've noticed the kids like to inform their algorithms. They want to like everything that they like, heart everything
Mhm.
that they like and hide things that they don't like and block things that they don't like. Like they're very interactive with their algorithms. Rob is more than I am. I'm less likely, unless it's TikTok, then I do like things from time to
Mhm.
time. But in general, and I think that's kind of a generational thing. Like, we're a little less keen on, like, I'm not gonna tell you if I like it. Just, that's my
Yeah.
business.
That's I think that's just a byproduct of like, I mean, we were definitely of the age that we were like stepped into social media. You know what I mean? Like we're not native to social media, but we're like
Mhm.
super, super early adopters. I mean, especially compared to your kid. I mean, you know what I mean? We were, we were what, probably 18, 19 years old
Right.
when this stuff came about.
Yeah.
And so we were like very much early pioneers with it. And being such, we were early, like, because we were such early pioneers with this thing, we'd been using it for like 10 years before an algorithm ever came about. And so like our generation was an entire generation of people that were tricked by it. They got on these platforms, like everything that I see is from a trusted real human that had an email address to get this thing. And those are the people joining it. I mean, there was nothing else going on these platforms other than humans that IRL talking about shit on the internet that's going on in real life. And so we had 10 years of that sort of utopian experience with this stuff.
Right.
And
Chronological feeds.
then, and then
Man.
these algorithms smacked our generation over the head. We had no idea what was going on. And I
Yeah,
think a lot of people got lost in that shit.
that's so true.
I want to
Huh.
show some just kind of like, I kind of hinted at this recently, but I want you to peep this. So we've talked about Molt book, right? It is social network for AI agents, which is kind of funny. I mean, it's really just kind of a cosplay thing. It's like old school internet run amok. Basically, somebody sends their OpenClaw agent to create Reddit for other agents, and then they're doing like silly stuff like this. I mean, this is not an agent doing this autonomously, but like this no more humans thing. A lot of this is just like ridiculous stuff that people are doing. Anyway, but here's one thing that I do want to talk about. So there was an interesting, like this one's really cool. What I learned optimizing my context window usage. After burning through my context budget 3 times this week, I finally figured out a strategy that works. The problem, long conversations, text fills up. Either compress it, lose nuance, or truncate, lose history. Both options suck. What actually worked? Hierarchical summarization, not summarizing everything equally, but keeping high priority, medium, low priority. And so it walks through. So this is an agent that is, just to talk about what is going on here. This is so fascinating. This is an agent that is saying, my human has no idea what they want when they're chatting with me. How do I keep all of this data stored? And then you've got other agents that are like commenting on it, and
That's
and they're
hilarious.
providing a code pattern on how to deal with that, which I do find to be really funny. Is like these agents are kind of showing us all like, God, these fucking idiots chatting with us have no idea what they want.
That's hilarious.
But
Just a bunch of robots talking shop.
all joking aside, though, I do want to like posit this idea, because this is an idea that we talked about when we were first starting Pro Mode. We were like, well, which social platforms should we have? Should we have Pro Mode posts to? And I was like, I don't know, but I think in 5 years, it won't matter. And this is the thing that I'm talking about right here is like prospecting sucks. Finding good fit clients sucks. Toiling around on LinkedIn looking for good fit. I mean, it is so clunky. The amount of calories that are burned trying to arrive at like problem solution fixes for businesses is absolutely terrible, and is so easy to game. Like it's so easy to appear different than you actually are. So I have always envisioned this world where that type of thing kind of all goes away. Sorry, I just got a text message asking for a cookie recipe. It threw me off. At any rate,
That's hilarious.
I don't have a cookie recipe. So actually what I have always envisioned this world where there is like a LinkedIn, but is just simply for company data. And I'm not talking proprietary data. I'm just talking about everything that this company does, for whom, what were success stories, what were like bad fits, what are the outcomes that you're hoping to achieve? And that these 2 agents or even just 2 data sets, because I don't want to give the impression that I'm talking about this. There's a meme that people are always saying where the future is just going to be one company's agent selling things to another agent, and then that agent's buying things and selling things. I'm not talking about that. And I am, because that will just not be the case. I mean, who's going to write a big check and be like, well, agent told me? I'm just saying the path to first meeting, I think, happens when companies, like, there's probably just going to be an agent LinkedIn where there's requests, there's, you know what I mean? And an agent is just probably building up a queue in a really social format, you know? And so whoever's controlling that agent at a company would say, you know, we can't afford to hire people, but we have these needs that need to be filled. Here's our specs on it. And just super detailed problem statements are put
Mm-hmm.
into this like LinkedIn type platform. And then different providers just, and the idea is you want as much data inside of those agents as you possibly can have. And that does a lot of your prospecting and solution finding for you, because all the other methods are getting like super clunky.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's like sort of the thing that I
Interesting.
always envision for Pro Mode was like, right now we have to send stuff to these super clunky legacy platforms. But I really do envision a world where like the data architecture that we're giving to companies is one that is then used for something like what I've described, where there's just like this mega place where companies are like, here's all of the data we want to be available publicly. It's more data than any human could consume in a lifetime. Send your agents here to learn about it and see if it's a good fit. If it's a good fit, let's get the humans in the same room.
Mm-hmm. Very
That's
cool. I like it. I'm just comparing and contrasting what you're describing compared to the current state of things. Um, using AI search to find solutions. But to your point, you could have this living database where you basically have a constant prompt happening instead of a human saying, I've identified a problem. We need to solve it right now. I need to research some solutions and acting on that. You just have this like evergreen activity of that occurring and then feeding data back to the humans that's relevant.
yeah.
Like, we found a good solution for this problem. Is this still a high priority problem? And then the human can make those executive decisions.
Absolutely. I think that ends up because we are reaching like this critical mass of, like assembling cold outbound. It's not that big of a lift anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Coming up with the output and writing it, assembling it, no longer a big deal. And so you have a lot more noise in the space, but not more signal. And so I think that once you're able to sort of cross-pollinate large data sets between companies, I think that's when we get away from the noise, just the overall noise, and get into more signal.
Interesting.
So, okay, you have kind of a discussion to tee up around this. This was my rage bait in my non-curated feed today. So this is
Your rage bait.
a graphic that was shared, and it was shared by a marketer, well-known marketer. And it was, if you want to be relevant in marketing, these are the 12 AI skills you need to learn to master. There's some crazy things on this list,
Mm-hmm.
like fine-tuning models. Like, what you're going to go to Hugging Face and grab some of these, like, as a marketer, you're going to get some of these open source models on Hugging Face and use them to fine-tune other models. I mean, you know what I mean? There's like people where like, this is just all that they do. There are like teams of hundreds of people that this is all that they do. I mean, LLM evaluation. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Oh my God, this is so
So
good. I just imagine some poor marketing director looking at this being like, holy shit, like, I'm supposed to know how to do marketing, not all of this. This is crazy. When am I going to have time to do marketing?
what is your take on this phenomenon? I can't quite put my finger on it, but I don't get, and it seems to be isolated to marketing, where there's this weird added requirement, or I don't know where's it coming from?
Yeah.
What's this temptation for marketers to step way outside of their lane in an attempt to remain relevant? What's that?
Mhm.
What is that?
Well, I mean, it's been happening since the internet. Like, since digital marketing became a thing, because digital marketing was this kind of offshoot from traditional marketing, and the component just has kept getting deeper and deeper and deeper, more complex over time. And marketers have either had to learn or master in their lane. Like, then you have SEO specialists. That SEO specialist might know something of the core foundation of marketing, the core principles of marketing, but really they may not. And the same with an ad manager, because it's probably a different human who's creating the ad set from the human who's running the ad platform. So the ad platform guy is going to know a lot about testing and probability and statistics and math, really, to make those ad platforms hum. And then the creative is going to know more about psychology and clickability and, getting into the human psyche to make those ads work from a human standpoint. So over time, you've not only had, more disciplines to master, but then it has required more humans to sit in all of those seats, because companies and agencies learned along the way, this doesn't live inside of one brain. You're just not going to find someone who can master creative and copywriting and video production and the tech undergirding of all of those things. Building a fantastic website, you're going to have multiple people involved in that, not just because of time, but because of the expertise involved in each step of the process. So it's
Can I
just
ask
become
you?
more complex.
Okay, give me you don't have to be super accurate. I just want to get a rough gauge of it. If you were to assign a percentage of marketing activities, assign a percentage of marketing dollars spent annually, like across the US, what percentage of those marketing dollars spent probably look more like outsourced IT services? And when I say outsource IT services, I'm also including like submitting a sitemap to Google. A lot of the things,
Mm-hmm.
I would lump the vast majority of SEO into what would be IT services. You're
Yeah.
submitting citations, you're uploading CSVs. I mean, those look like IT activities and not
Mm-hmm.
branding, marketing, messaging, product market fit, go to market, those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
What would you assign that split as
I
currently?
want to say probably 30%,
Okay.
tech integrations, data. Yeah, probably 30%.
Okay, interesting. I'm guessing I'm probably doing a bad job of framing that question, because I would think if we did a deeper dive on it, it would probably be higher. Like, another thing that I'm even thinking of is if you're doing a paid ads campaign, I'm basically asking you what percentage of the hour spent on a pay-per-click campaign is researching the audience, understanding their pain points deeply, and then building that into the ad creative. I would say that's not in the IT bucket. That type of activity is in the marketing bucket clearly. But then when it comes to we're clicking the buttons inside of like Google's ad manager. I keep talking with my hands, and
Mm-hmm. Your
my new
camera's
camera thinks
following you.
I'm trying to point to a whiteboard, I think. But so in this made up pay-per-click campaign, you know, basically everything outside of understanding the audience, understanding their problems, coming up with killer creative that speaks directly to that, and then testing that creative against the results. I mean, that to me seems like a fairly small percentage if we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about just total hours spent on that pay-per-click campaign. The rest of it seems to just be the things that the company paying for those services does not have the technical chops to handle that in-house, which is why they're going to somebody
Exactly.
to do
Yeah.
that piece. That to me seems like 70% sort of IT tasks and 30% like creative messaging, branding, positioning, audience, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think this IT bucket is like probably very big. My next question for you is, okay, if I am a marketer, or let's say I'm an agency owner and I'm looking around, are my wealthiest and most successful like colleagues and competitors, do they skew more towards the IT end of things or more towards the like, just the average, not like cream of the crop marketers, but just like the average marketer trying to make it in the world? Are the most successful ones the ones that have a technical edge today?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm wondering,
Unless they are, but that's an interesting conversation. Like within an agency, an agency that serves the mid-market, the highest paid employees are going to be your top SEO specialist and your top ad manager.
hmm,
Your account managers, your copywriters, your social media managers, your graphic designers are all making, 30 to 40% less
okay.
annually. So what does
Wow.
that say?
Yeah. Okay. This is interesting. So I would imagine in the attempt to remain relevant in the AI era, the reason that we're seeing so many marketers step outside their lane and try to build like AI apps is historically, or at least for the last 10 years, demonstrating that behavior would lead to success, right? Like if you became a thought leader on highly technical niches related to SEO that are, again, probably more in this IT department than in the actual like branding strategy and positioning department, those are probably the most successful marketers just financially. Probably the highest
Mhm.
profit margin agencies are those agencies. So it would make sense that as marketers are like feeling some scarcity and some fear, they're defaulting to old behaviors and like trying to build fucking lovable apps and stuff.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. That makes so much sense. So you're saying that posts like you just showed saying, "Hey, here's all the things you should master as a marketer that have nothing to do with marketing and will take more time than you could ever spend to learn to master those things, much less apply them daily." That the impetus for that is that historically more technical marketers make more money.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm wondering if that's it. Um I just I can't figure out I cannot figure out what is going on in that space. Like there's certainly a weird resistance to like being like, I don't know how this stuff works. And
Mhm.
anybody who does know how large language models work, you hear like very reputable marketers just totally talking out of their ass, having
It's
no clue
so
what's going on
crazy.
with a level of
It's crazy.
confidence that blows my mind.
It's insane.
And I'm wondering, where does this coming from? Because if you are a good marketer, and when I say marketer, I mean like squarely in the lane of marketing, branding, strategy, positioning, that type of stuff, that is now the valuable skill set.
Yes, it is.
It is like, I am going to spend 4 hours on this like hero text. It has to
Mhm.
be perfect. Like I'm going to be counting the syllables. I'm going to be looking at it visually on 10 different devices. You know what I mean? Like it is just truly honing on the core skill of marketing, which is clearly communicating the problems that you solve.
Right.
You know, this is the base principle here.
Mhm.
I don't get it. I don't get why that is now the most valuable skill in marketing. Yet we're seeing so many marketers running to these skills that they'll never be able to catch up on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just,
Okay, so I think maybe one of the factors, again, in the mid-market primarily, is that when ChatGPT popped on the scene and everybody freaked out and agencies started using it for client work, client copy, etc. Their clients, they saw them as experts of AI simply because they're a digital marketing agency. And
mm,
if you have treated, let's say it's an agency, you've treated them as your basically IT support, anything that happens on the internet concerning us, we call that digital agency. Not so much because of their expertise always, but because of our lack of any expertise in this. Like, we're a 50-year-old manufacturing company. We know our systems and that's it. We don't hire for that skill set. So we're calling on you, agency guy who's handling our SEO and our website whenever anything technical comes up. And so when ChatGPT pops in the scene, I think it was just their natural, their natural next step was, yeah, if we have questions about this new AI technology, we'll just ask our technology partner, this digital agency. Because they didn't have the awareness to know a digital marketer does not necessarily an AI expert make, right?
yeah.
I think many companies are waking up to, in the enterprise, they've kind of always been wise to that because they do have internal IT teams who are AI hobbyists or interested at some level to tell upper leadership, no, this shit ain't that. This
Mm-hmm.
AI stuff is not the same as everything our digital marketing team has been creating. Like, it's a different skill set. We're going to have to hire for it or outsource it. We do not have the skills in-house to handle this. Enterprise know that. The
Mm-hmm.
mid-market, I don't think so much. They're just staffed differently.
So there's like market pressures to that. Okay. You just outlined, I think, what is going on. It's like, it's a retention market pressure that GPT's release just sent FOMO through the world and like fear of missing out and like fear of being made irrelevant probably. And so if as a marketer, the way that you've been operating for the last 10 years is like thought leadership, relevancy, technical things that my clients would be intimidated to try to understand. And now with this release of GPT, I need to present myself as a large language model expert because I had been presenting myself as this like technical SEO expert or whatever the case may be. And so like the market pressures are there that are kind of forcing this narrow view of I need to remain a technical thought leader instead of
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, their clients expect them to fully understand how the internet works. Like,
Mhm.
that's the underpinnings of digital marketing. Like, you got to know how marketing works, but you also have to have a deep understanding of how the internet works. How the internet works today is not how it worked 3 years ago. And
Mm.
then
It's interesting. I think a lot of so much of this is going to implode, huh?
it'll be really interesting. I want to show you something though, because I
Yeah.
found something that ties into this. Because there's another side to that coin. Marketers leaning in on AI, wanting to learn absolutely everything there is to know about AI. But then there's also this happening. So this guy, and I'm really intrigued by this company, Stacker,
Hmm.
talking to him a little bit. He points out all of these companies, Ramp, Fanatics, Morgan Stanley, something called Christie's. Is that the auction house maybe?
I think so.
Cooley LLP, Empower Pharmacy, BlackRock, Precise Target, Fast Market. So all of these companies have these job postings right now. They have these job openings. Director of Editorial Strategy, Head of Content, Editor, Managing Editor, Director of Integrated Content Marketing, head of content, director of content, editor-in-chief, regional editor. These are publishing titles. These are not publishing companies. These companies, I would wager, have never hired for any of these roles. These are net new roles within these companies, and they're taking a cue from the publishing world to arrive at these job descriptions. Why are they doing that? Why are they throwing 200, 285, 300K a year at these net new content-centered job titles? It's because I believe that what you just shared ties directly into this. It's because these companies have looked around and said, all we have are technical marketers.
Mm-hmm.
Our CMO, even our directors, our CMO, like they are busy living in the land of analytics, living in the land of tech integrations, of AI adoption. Somebody's not man in the store on what the hell we should be talking about.
Yeah.
And these companies, they're seeing what's happening. Okay, we need more content. We need thought leadership of a different color. Like, we need not only to be the most authoritative voice in our industry, but we need to be a news source to our audiences. We
Mm-hmm.
need an editor-in-chief in this company.
Yeah.
We need to stand up a media outlet centered around our brand. And we need somebody with deep understanding of communications to come in and do this.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, buy Pro Mode. Because, and here's the other factor right now inside of these companies, I'm going to guess, because we've talked to, some of their compatriots in the enterprise space, have 3-month project cycles to get one email out the door.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
4 to 6 months for a web page because of the operational bloat in their content creation process. So they're going to hire these editors-in-chief, and what's the throughput going to look like? You plug somebody in who knows what to say, who knows, okay, here's our voice, here's what we're talking about. We now have a media outlet within this company. What is the throughput? What is the system to make that possible in real life? And that's exactly where Promote fits.
100%. Yeah. How can you? Well, yeah. You're. I mean, these are obviously like high-paying jobs. I mean, and you're going to need to, if you're going to hire this person, it's going to be for their ideas. It's going to be for their creativity, and you're going to want to scale that. And that's the part, right? Like that. It's the scaling of that AI takes care of. But it does require that well-paid creative human, like at the very top, to come up with the thing. And then you empower them with a like very strong context architecture, and whatever they build for you at any given time is then persistent throughout the entire organization. You don't want that person, like you want that person just here. This is where you want that person. Show you. You want that person at the whiteboard, like.
I may have not shared this with you. This is funny. When I first started working at marketing agencies, I was most disappointed by the lack of whiteboard time. I was the only one who used it.
Mm-hmm.
I was the salesperson, and I'm like, I just sold this brilliant new client, and you guys aren't even having a meeting about them. Like, it's just, okay, I'm going to do my SEO research, I'm going to do my web stuff, and everybody's just working in their own, disciplines and silos. And I'm like, can't we have like a powwow for a minute and brainstorm about this client?
Mm-hmm.
I've just been doing that for 5 meetings. with the client about how amazing this is going to be and pulling ideas out of them. And I just gave this new client to you, and you are not in a creative headspace whatsoever. What is happening? Yeah,
Yes.
I was most
Yeah.
disappointed by. And the whiteboard time does happen in branding agencies. They're really fun about that. But in your run-of-the-mill, full-service digital marketing agency, no.
Yeah.
There's no, throwing koosh balls and like, getting creative juices going. Should be fun.
It
It's usually
should.
not.
It should. I was recently doing some training with one of our clients recently, and she was watching me work in pro mode. And she kind of had an aha moment where she was talking to me and I was typing no punctuation, all lowercase, stream of consciousness, like just muddy. But I was just trying to be like, keep your ideas coming to me, and I'm just putting these words in here. And she's like, oh, I didn't realize that that box was just like my diary. And I'm like, yes, like that's the thing. This is, you can just dump stream of consciousness ideas in here, and it's just the raw ideas in your head. It's like, you don't need to, if all of a sudden you eliminate the need to be like, okay, we're writing a sales sequence. It needs to be 5 emails long. Sentences need to be short and punchy. The calls to action at the end of it all need to be this. Like, remember when we were looking at that Molt book thing, and the agent was like, I have all of this context and I have no idea what to do with. I have no idea what's important. Um, you know, so when you solve for that context piece right there and you hand a user a diary and you're like, just fill out this diary. You don't have to, the formatting, all of that. This is just where raw thoughts go, and they are all
Mm-hmm.
translated just beautifully
Mm-hmm.
into finished product. That's the, so anyway, I was having this experience, and then you and I were talking about whiteboards recently, and I was trying to think of like, just for funsies, I was like, what would be a killer in-person demo? I was putting together, I was like putting together travel and trade show budget. And I was like, what would be a fun way that we could knock people's socks off? And I was thinking about it. It is like me at my laptop, pro mode projected onto a screen, you at a whiteboard in real life, and then just like a 1 hour creative session with the most creative people in that organization. So it's 3 or 4 people, and you're just pinging back and forth, getting ideas, putting them on the whiteboard, making the connections. And as you're doing that, if like something about the audience comes about, I'm just adding all of those profiles as databases. In real time, we pause, I talk about, okay, I'm adding this audience in here, and then we just kind of refine it. But we just spend, well, let's say we have an hour to pitch this thing, right? So in this hour to pitch this thing, we spend 50 minutes solely on the brainstorm of it, the ideas, the audience, the sub audiences of those audiences, you know what I mean? Just all of the full nuance of a strong go to market. And so we spend 50 minutes on just the real human brainstormy whiteboard part of it. And then the
That would be
last 10
so
minutes are like,
cool.
okay, let's just go ahead and get all of our emails and landing pages and social posts for this. It is
Yes.
just showing that like, this is now a 10-to-1 ratio. It used to be a 1-to-10 ratio. It's 10-to-1 now. And we want to show you guys how to use a diary. You know what I mean? Like just a diary for your raw human thoughts. And here's how to just plug it in there as you're going. It's like,
So fun.
let's make it good again.
Yes, that would be so fun. And we could do like a pre-show marketing where I'm reaching out and setting up custom demos, and we could have those custom demos ready, their time of the day, and like they could be, the owner of the company, whoever's at that show can be at the whiteboard with me. Like, okay, we're going to brainstorm, and then they can see and kind of verify the quality of that content.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That would be so fun. That's like a South by Southwest thing.
Exactly. It's a cool time. It's a good time. I mean, gosh, I think for the marketers, it's such a weird thing because there's this new technology out there. You need to be a thought leader. You need to like show your clients that you're on top of it. I get all of that. But if you're really trying to future proof yourself for 5 years from now, I mean, if you haven't been just like all day, every day in large language models, playing around with this technology for years now, like, you're probably not going to catch up, but you have a zone of expertise that is, as you just showed, now tremendously valuable.
Right.
Absolutely, like beyond valuable, because that's a rare thing, you know?
Yeah, right. It's like, what's the better career move if you're a savvy marketer? Is it learning all of the AI stuff that is changing daily and then try to sell consulting services for building bots and agents and stringing tools together? And maybe sprinkling in some marketing strategy into that, but you've got to know that tech, or go make $300K a year as a, managing editor at Christie's. Like,
Exactly.
if you know the core principles of marketing and communications, like, you're gonna excel in that role.
Precisely. Yeah. Yeah. To have the owner, CEO of that company, be like, hey, what's your big revenue goals like right now? They tell you. Then you say, well, what's your most profitable product? They tell you. To which audience? They tell you. Why? They tell you. Why that? They tell you. Where there are other people like this? They tell you. You know what I mean? Like, that is truly how you unify business outcomes
Yes.
with marketing, is by identifying those things. And that's the core skill. That's a
Mhm.
core fundamental skill here, and everything else around it is now solved with technology. So, do you want to learn the
Mhm.
core skill, or do you want to learn the technology? And will that be your zone of excellence? Likely not.
Right, and I just think it's good news for older marketers. I know a lot of, like, really, really smart, thoughtful, philosophical, people who maybe they used to own an agency, they're semi-retired, they're in their 50s, 60s, and they're kind of like, where do I fit into this world? Like, some of them are retiring early just because they don't even know how to be relevant anymore. But I think things like this, all of these job openings for these types of roles with the salaries, it gives us a hint at how companies are thinking and where they're placing value today. And yeah, it's kind of a new blue ocean is old school.
It is, yeah. Your ability to come up, like, to, if your ability to connect dots that AI can't. You know what I mean? That's exactly where the core skill set is sitting. Because right now, AI is kind of sneaky impressive, but it's not able to connect highly nuanced dots.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if like your chat GPT is connecting dots, that's a signal that those are the wrong dots to connect. That's not going to
Yeah.
land with a human. And so somebody who has the ability to look at a company from different angles and connect dots that no bot can, and
Mm-hmm.
then use like a bunch of agents to get those dots out in the world. There's a lot in there too, but you're
Mm-hmm.
then creating valuable training data. So this whole thing, this whole like answer engine optimization or GEO or all of that, these are all problems that are solved not from more technical IT like activities, like everybody's talking. It is, you show up in those things when you start to connect dots in a new way. Those are the signals
Mm-hmm.
that LLMs will be looking for as they crawl the internet. Okay, I'm passing by this website. Okay, it looks like this website is connecting health food to upper middle class stay at home moms. We've seen those dots connected. Cool. Moving on. You know what I mean? So if like you're working in marketing for like health food, find new dots to connect. There's a million different dots that you could connect there. But like all of the technical things are solved for. You don't need to have some AEO agency or GEO
Yeah.
strategy. You need to have a brain that fucking connects dots differently than
Yes.
robots do. And then use robots to get it out.
Uh-huh. Yeah. There's interesting things happening in that. And it seems like it's more of a line item replacement. They're like, okay, we need something for this profitable service called SEO that makes up 40% of the revenue in our agency. Let's call it AEO. Can it still be $2,000 a month? Sure. Cool.
Yeah, there's the real incentive. All right.
Yeah.
Good pod.
Cool.
Should we call
Yeah.
it?
Lots of meat on this bone today. This has been the Tenfold AI podcast, sponsored as always by Promode.ai. I'm Heather, joined by Matt, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
LLM architecture for professional communicators.